Hello there, I'm Gumshu. Today I wanted to put out a quick video about my Banlist thoughts and predictions for the upcoming post-Duelist Cup. As we know, uh, in Duel Links and currently in Master Duel, after every major tournament, there's been a ban list that has changed the meta significantly. So I want to talk about decks that either they perform very well in the Duelist Cup, or have been very highly represented for an extended period of time in Ladder. First up, Adamantipator. The one ban I want the most is Block Dragon 2-0. This card has been a problem since the game launched. The big combos it could make but previously were ridiculous, and the big combos it can make now are ridiculous. It's absolutely a problem, and without Block Dragon, this deck's ceiling goes way down. Next up is a personal one of mine that might be a little controversial. That grass looks greener, less copies. I'd like it banned, but I know people like the card, so a semi-limit, like the OCG, might be okay too, but I think it's an incredibly sacky, skillless card that wins the game when it's resolved, and really only relies on you drawing the card. Uh, I get people like it, but the fact that you have to play a 60-card deck does not balance it. Next up is Runic. This deck has been terrorizing the ladder. People hate this deck for good reason. It's a floodgate mill deck. What I personally would like to see happen is Hugin to 1. It means it gets to do the protection from card effects less often. So if you have like big macro sweepers, they're a little more effective against them because they only have one copy of Hugin. Uh, However, this is unlikely to happen as it's a UR and it's brand new, so Konami probably doesn't want that hit. So we could see some of the surrounding floodgates hit instead. Maybe TC Boo brought down to less copies like its brothers, and maybe cards like Skill Drain, Rivalry goes in brought down to even less copies than already currently. And finally, I want to highlight Card of Demise. This card should be less copies, definitely. It's currently at 3, and it's a draw 3 for Runic, which is incredibly powerful. And I think it should be banned, but just because, again, less sacky if you just ban it and instead of leaving it at 1 or 2, but less copies in general is perfectly fine with me. I want to talk about Braided Despia. This deck didn't actually do too well in Duelist Cup, but has been a highly represented ladder deck for ever since its release, so it's been a long time. I kind of find it doubtful they'll actually meaningfully hit this deck because they just released the secret pack and it's like still like a special promotion on it, but we'll see. And really, the best way to hit it, I think, is to just less copies at opening a Luber Infusion. The less often it can see those power cards, the worse Braided Despia is going to get. And of course, if you want a nuclear option, you could always ban Mirror Jade. But that would kill the deck, and I don't really want that to happen. I think the deck is cool. Next up is Sword Soul Tenyi. Again, another deck that didn't necessarily do too well in the ladder or in the Duelist Cup, but has been well represented on the Master Duel ladder since its release, which has been a long time. I don't really let this deck hit. I think it's a really cool deck that is going to get power crept on its own eventually. But if you want to hit the deck, I think Ashina and Vishuddha to 1, very good hits. Ashina is such a powerful card in its own right, and Vishuddha is such a good going second tool for Sword Soul Tenyi that it makes it harder for the deck to play going second, making the deck worse on the ladder. Although, again, I don't really want that to happen. I think the decks should have good going second options, but again, always an option. You could also do less copies of Moyi or Emergence. So again, lowering that consistency to the point where they can't access their power cards more often, bringing them more in line with the consistent level of other decks. Fluon de Rize, this deck has been decently represented on the ladder so far, and has also been done really well in the Duelist Cup. And again, less copies of Ravina, Map, and Advent. These are their power cards. Map, especially, is just such a powerful card. Ravina is their one-card starter. Reducing those would go a long way. And of course, I don't want this to happen because tier is coming and I want this card alive for tier limit meta, but Shifter to 0 is another potential option. This is a very frustrating hand trap that lets a lot of decks just ends their turn immediately, and it's a big reason to play Fluon de Rize. And finally, although I don't really want... This isn't really like a ladder thing about like how well represented the deck is, but I think Pendulum FTK really shouldn't exist. And there's a new number of cards that you could ban just one of that would fix the problem. A lot of people have been pointing to Independent Nightingale, which is definitely a good option since it's not played in anything besides Fund FTK. But personally, I'd like Instant Fusion banned as both a way to stop the FTK and also as future proofing for tier limit format. Um, so that's all my thoughts about it. That's the popular decks that did well in the Duelist Cup or have been on the ladder for a long time. There's a bunch of, cards that we could take off the list, start bringing off it, which, it's hard to predict what those could be. Of course, some previous ones that Konami has done. Multi-Faker could come back to more. Kagari could come back more. It's just a lot of cards that we could be bringing back. Again, more Girsu, but it's hard to predict those. So with that, I'm just going to end the video here. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, consider liking and subscribing to me, and also comment below what you liked, what you think needs improvement, or tell me my ban list predictions are garbage, and that I should consider dunking my head into acid. Also, check me out on Twitter, where I follow other VTubers and Yu-Gi-Oh content, as well as post updates and my thoughts, and Twitch, where I stream Master Duel rank climbs, other Master Duel Yu-Gi-Oh related content, and other games. Also, if you'd like to discuss my content or Yu-Gi-Oh in general with other like-minded people, consider joining my Discord, linked in the description. Thank you, and have a good day.